Hello, my name is Leon. I'm a novelist, but I also love comics. So, I'm here ranking Japanese manga. It's manga, not anime. So those who watched my previous video, you probably know what this video is about. I know you're excited. You know you're excited. Last video, I talked about the most fucked up manga. And I talked about Made in Abyss and Killing Morph. And I said there was one more manga that I would put in this category. We have one more manga in this subject, the most effed up manga. It's medieval. It's about revenge. Lastly, it's the greatest manga in the world. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The moment you've all been waiting for. It's the greatest manga of all time. Kentaro Miura, Berserk. S tier, of course. This manga came out in 1989. The game Dark Souls, Elden Ring, movies like The Avengers Infinity War, or the other manga like Claymore or Black Clover, these are all influenced by Berserk. Some will even say that Game of Thrones are influenced by Berserk, but you'll never know. Why does Berserk have such influence to the world? Berserk is about a man named Guts. He's so damn manly, oh my god. I feel gay just thinking about him. Berserk is about a man named Guts, who has been marked by the gods called the Five Godhands, and all demons and apostles want to eat him because of the mark. Spoiler alert. He also witnessed a close friend of his named Griffith turning into one of the corrupted Godhands. So other than only getting hunted by demons, he also seeks revenge against a motherfucking god, Griffith. This manga has some of the most iconic designs. Guts was a huge ass sword called Dragon Slayer, blind in one eye, one artificial arm that has a freaking cannon inside. Every time you see a character with a freaking large sword, that character probably took inspiration from Guts. And Miura is just one of the best drawers out there. He gave attention to every minor character. Like an army called the Blue Well Knights wear fish-shaped armor. And Miura gave an entire army distinctive fish designs. So many mangaka, they copy and paste, but Miura is one of a kind. He paid attention to every detail, and that's why he stands out. Similar cases can only be seen in a few manga like Dandadan. This is our next point. The drawing. I don't think I need to explain it, just look at it. It's so good. How? This is a manga, not an art gallery. Just how, like Miura, how are you making every panel like world-class drawing? If you have never seen this manga, just look at these drawings and tell yourself, like ask yourself if you're convinced that this is the greatest manga of all time. But of course, good manga doesn't only come from good art. Does Berserk have a good plot? The world setting and genre is very clear. Medieval dark fantasy with apostles that are once humans holding beheaded eggs. When they sacrifice the ones they love, they can turn into apostles. Did you hear that? They need to sacrifice the ones they love. The setting will obviously lead to hesitation and struggles whether to trade your loved ones for the power you desire. Is it worth it? Was it worth it for you, Griffith? The premise changes throughout the manga. Now remember this, the premise changed because of character development. The materials that we build a story with really complements each other. Genre, premise, setting, characters, plot. A good story is when these materials are layered or contributing to each other. So the premise changes because of character development. God sought for revenge, but what he realized was that he just wants to protect his girl, Casca. The premise of revenge turned into a premise of protection, and that happened after one of my favorite arcs of all manga in the world, Conviction arc. But before Conviction arc, we have the Lost Children arc. Let's like what we said from the last video, pacing is very crucial. But after the amazing flashback of the Golden Age arc, we can't just go back to the main plot of hunting Griffith. It's gonna be too rushed and like we have no time to breathe. We need a break from the hype of the Golden Age arc. We go to a side quest of killing an apostle, Rosen, in the Lost Children arc. And this arc is so fucking good. Character design. See how like decomposing this character as smaller arguments, because Berserk is such a perfect manga, like he does every detail to perfection. I can't really just say character in general, I need to break it down like character setting, character development, character designs. Perfection is little things done well, as Marco Pierre White once did. So character setting, Joe and Rosen have flashbacks that give them characters. And we learned from my Demon Slayer review. Flashbacks cannot just provide an emotional aspect. It needs to provide information, and Joe and Rosen's flashback do exactly that. And unlike Demon Slayer, the emotions didn't occur during the flashback, but it comes from the real story that is going on between Joe and Rosen that are built on Joe and Rosen's flashback and support. Sorry, let me go back to the drawing again before continuing with character setting. Framing is when panels are organized and drawn so that the audience can see the pictures moving. It also introduces and indicates the meaning that we don't see directly from the manga. I want you to study this next part of the video very carefully. Guts is gruesome and unapologetic. He is so dark for a protagonist, but Jill, an innocent girl, has had enough of the domestic abuse and other sorrowful incidents. She wished to travel with Guts in the journey of killing apostles, but like I said, Guts is extremely dark. When Jill found Guts, his face was shaded. His actions were shown in extreme close-ups that we still cannot see his face. Jill finds Guts. Guts is on the left, onto Jill's panel. The shade goes from left to right, from Guts to Jill, and the framing keeps the position the same throughout the chapter. The scene zooms out because what Guts said about telling her to go away is genuine, but it's insignificant, as Jill was not convinced of leaving Guts alone, so the scene was far away from the characters. Instead, what Jill was about to say is significant, as she stated the proof of Guts caring for her, and stated what she really wanted, which was for Guts to take her with him. That's why the scene goes closer and closer to Jill. The panel grows bigger as she stated her wish, and when that inner monologue came out, we see Jill sought for comfort from the initial dark figure on her left. But Guts was no longer dark, because he was Jill's comfort. There, we see half of Guts' face. Now, we need a little break before the shocking image, so we have these two panels. And then, Jill heard Guts' words. She looked at him, saw his frightening eyes, and then she saw the dark truth that envelopes Guts. Isn't the framing just like a movie? Guts tried to scare Jill away, but also teaches Jill the cruelty of reality. Guts became the embodiment of darkness. Her superiority shone from down to up, her inferiority shone from up to down, and the demons climbed onto her. Framing goes closer and closer to Jill as Jill became more and more afraid. Guts saves her from being possessed by the demons. We see her reaction one by one. She kneels down, she pants. Then we see her expression with a larger panel. Then, before we see the full picture, we see the edge of Guts' crane. Remember the frame of half of Guts' face with his blind eye? We have the other half this time, with his well eye that softly gazed at Jill. I can't, this is just perfect framing for me. I'm not just analyzing this in terms of manga, I can also apply this to my novel. Like when I describe somebody's reaction, I go from like a close-up, like describe what their eyes look like, and then go out to describe the entire expression, and then to like the whole body gestures. I study manga, comics, and movies so I can move the frames of my novel by using words. What were we talking about again? Character setting. Character from the early chapters. Judo, Quirkus, Pippin, they all had different personalities that we love individually. In the later chapters, I fucking love Isudro. Foreigners is my main protagonist. I don't care what you say about Casca. Typical, so unpredictable like the wind. Shrike. So freaking adorable but also so competent. All these side characters are expertly written, especially Phonies, because even a side character like her has great character development. Guts' setting from the beginning of the manga, which is post-eclipse, to a setting before the eclipse in his flashback, to a setting post-eclipse, and to a setting after he rescued Casca in Conviction Arc. Layer by layer by layer, vivid reasons were provided for Guts' change. Now, when I say character setting changes, I don't mean character development. For example, Griffith's character change was because of a chain of events that he developed a dark mind. We can't say his character setting changed because he went from being the leader of Band of the Hawks to a useless cripple because he was tortured for an entire year. It was just what happened to him. When we say the setting changed, it meant that a character like Guts, his motives changed, his personality changed. What we anticipated about him from the beginning is changed. Although the character setting changes is a part of character development, but I'm dividing this two parts to compare Guts and Griffith. Both character development and character setting changes can bring fun to the readers, and Berserk did the best of the two worlds. Like I said, the premise changed, but they changed in appropriate ways, so there's not much to speak about them, so let's go to the plot. Introduction of problems, action in solving the problem, cause and consequences, ending. These flow one by one. If we miss just any one of these, things might not make sense. What is agreed in the narrative path wouldn't change, and carries throughout the plot. So in short, Berserk did everything flawlessly. So like, there's not much to say about the plot as well. This manga is just perfect in every angle, but it is not flawless. So after all these praises, let's say what Berserk can do better. Berserk conducted plot flawlessly, but some plots are boring. I think many will agree that the Sea God arc is disappointing, especially when it's such a long arc. It taught us nothing. It didn't introduce the creativity of monsters or showcase magic, let alone using her magic to win the fight against the Sea God, unlike what we saw in the Millennium Falcon arc. Another is the character. The normal human character, Magnifico, is important. He has that funny character role, giving us breathing space during that constant intensity. So why the hell is the antagonist of the Sea God arc also a funny character? When Bonebeard first appeared, he was a badass. Then he turned into this unrelenting, useless character that contributes nothing but comedy. As the subordinate of the Sea God, he did not do anything. I love all the characters from Berserk, but they're not perfect. Puck, I loved his character. Even when people disliked that Puck became a funny chestnut character, I still loved him. But there is one problem, that is his inconsistency. He used to be someone who accompanied Jill like a fairy. Used to be mad that Gus was a sickening bastard that let Vargas die. He was such a sweetheart who then accompanied Istudro stealing apples from an innocent old man. What? Is he still the Puck I know? Because we have so many characters introduced in the fantasy arc, the witches, the new characters, their personalities are a little repeated. That's alright, we just need something other than personality that makes the new character stand out, but we didn't get that. Well, one reason is that Miura passed away before Fantasia arc ended. So I think an elite writer like him only just doesn't have the time to complete these characters. Last counter argument, I don't even know what to call this, but Guts finally found some teammates, right? So why the hell is Guts receiving all the injuries? Why is he getting burned by lightning, deafened by the Sea God? Even Isidro or Serpico almost never got injured. It's almost like Miura is torturing Guts and Guts alone. This video is almost over, but there's one more important thing about this manga. The flaws I just mentioned are quite big. They can definitely change the ranking of this manga from S tier, but I talked about character setting, character designs, and what's bad about the characters. There's still one thing I didn't talk about, but it's the character development. I think in storytelling, in any fictional writing, character development is the most important. As I mentioned previously, character setting changes are a part of character development, but character development can be so much more. Some authors or audience, they prefer characters that never change because it's more realistic. Like we ourselves, we don't change that much in a short amount of time. But in movies or any fictions, when the plot has a very long time jumps, like 2 years of plot, the character needs to have some changes, needs to have some development. It doesn't need to be that character learned something and improved themselves. It can be like Griffith, who learned that he's a selfish, stupid son of a bitch. However, his motives are so grand, and how he executes is so smart. I hate this stupid shit, but he is at least the top 5 written villain of all manga. I wouldn't count Casca's change as development, since the changes she has were out of her will. Guts, from a tragic boy who wanted no companies, to building unbreakable bonds with those he cared for in the Band of the Hawks. Then, the uncalled for tragedy made him a gruesome berserk man. This is out of his will, unlike Casca. Because Casca lost her mind, while Guts still had the conscience to not become the berserk man as he was. Then, he learned that his priority is Casca. He learned to have company again from Puck and Isidro. Brownies later joined with Serpico as well as Shurikei. Guts became more than just a party member. He became that sage mentor character for those inexperienced ones. Obviously, at the end of Fantasia arc, Guts gave up. Isidro is constantly learning in terms of combat, while still remaining that funny, smirky character. When he met Isma, she became someone so important to him that when she fainted with that Alpha, I'm so curious to see what kind of development Isidro will have. Why, when Casca is Guts' love interest, when Shurikei is more competent, why do I still believe that Farnese is the main female protagonist? Character development. Again, Farnese might not have the most screen time, but she certainly has the most to be explored about in the future, and that's how I identify protagonists. From that rich, sadistic, full pride lady, she became a mother figure to Casca, the competent teammate when fighting the fantasy creatures. I love what she has become. From my past manga reviews, probably see how much I love the small characters, right? Obviously, main characters who have these insane fantasy quests are unrealistic in real life. So we often see ourselves on small characters like Nina, because the main characters are often learning to achieve character development. So we also have small characters like Luca, who are the sage character that taught not only the main characters, but also taught us as the audience. At the end of the day, the biggest reason why we follow a fiction is not because of the setting, the genre. We follow mostly because we are so connected, so engaged to the characters. And Berserk just has so many iconic characters like a badass wielding a huge sword, or a villain that tricks the whole world, that dark demon that dressed like a bright falcon. Pippin, Judo, Hookers, Nina, Luna, motherfucking Zod. So many side and small characters are executed beautifully. Now about composite, obviously, Berserk is such a grand and such a perfect manga. Even if I spend like another video talking about this, if I spend like an hour talking about this, I still want to cover all the greatness that Berserk has brought us. This manga is from 1989. When it's this good, obviously, many fictions are gonna learn from it. Many fictions is gonna take inspiration from it. This manga, the influence is just unparalleled. Now, about the next video, we have mostly covered most genres in manga. We talked about action, thriller, slice of life, drama and sports, horror, adventure, and dark fantasy. But there's one big genre that we didn't cover yet, and that is romance. So, romance, make sure to tune in for the next video. I'll see you next time, and bye!